One of the most anticipated indie games coming out this year along with Sifu is Stray, a game where you play as a cat. Enough said. I know that sentence alone would convince people to buy the game instantly. But we need to first talk about some few issues that I have with the game, alongside a lot of the things that I really loved about the game. This is the Uncomplicated review of Stray. Stray is a third-person cat adventure game set in a cyberpunk world. You get to roam around as a cat and defend yourself amongst challenges along the way. The gameplay is fairly simple and straightforward, but also really fun, which is quite difficult to achieve these days, especially for an indie game. You feel very free while playing the game. You get to roam around wherever you want, and you might stumble on an artifact or a collectible. And I have to say, shout out to the developers, because the collectibles in this game are very interesting and fun to do. Unlike many other games where it just feels tedious, and you just don't want to do it anymore. I felt as though I wanted to platinum the game, especially after having completed it within the 5-hour period. I have already gotten a lot of the trophies in the game, because I just spent so much time roaming around instead of just going the direction where the game tells me to. Before we talk about more positives of the game, I have to mention the slight negative I have with the game, which is unfortunately has to do with the gameplay. The gameplay mechanics, for what it is, works, but it does have its issues and glitches. They could have definitely taken more time to polish the movements and animations of some of the gameplay mechanics. It takes away from the majority of the smooth gameplay sequences and really take you away from the moment sometimes. But with that said, the game is still overall really smooth, just with a slight hiccups here and there. I can definitely see it being more polished once the developers notice these issues and update the game or patch it. Now the story of the game is pretty basic and easy to understand, but that's not really a bad thing. A story doesn't have to be complicated in order to be good. I felt as though the story was really good and resonated with me. And I actually think it's really smart when developers do this, especially for a game that's so quick to finish, because you'll never forget it, as opposed to a very complicated story that you just won't pay attention to because you get confused too much, which happens in a lot of other games. Now while you're playing the game, you'll befriend this robot called B12, and he's basically going to be with you for the majority of the game. He acts as an assistant to you or a guide along your journey. And even though he's not very involved in the dialogue of the story, it still feels like the character fits the game very well. While you're playing the game, you'll find a lot of moments or scenarios where you do things differently and you actually find success by doing random things. Like hiding in a box or kicking something on someone to wake him up, or scratching a door. You might scratch something and just find something hidden. The game is filled with these moments, and it really sparks light on what's unique about the game. In conclusion, if you're a cat lover, or if you're a lover of simple platforming, then Stray is definitely a game that I would say you must experience at least once. While it definitely could use more polishing, the game for the most part still achieved what it aimed for in a really good way. If you enjoyed this review, please do leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. And don't forget to hit the bell notification icon to never miss any future uploads. Catch you in the next one.